Right guys, welcome to the next episode of my YouTube series, and today I'm going to show you what I buy shopping every week. So we're going to do a full grocery shop today, go through technically what I eat in a day. I'll bring it back to the apartment as well, go through my food for the week and generate the calories I'm on, show you some of the meals that I eat, and I'm also going to show you how I make my cream rice as well, because it's a question I get asked a lot of the time. So come on in to Dunn Stores and let's get some food. Right, bagels. Have to be Fitzgerald bagels. I always check the date because the best ones are always at the back. 28. So typically this food is actually just not for myself, it's for Karen as well. So she's actually in the latter end of her off season, so there is plenty of carbs being consumed by both of us now at this stage. I think even Karen's up to about 600 grams of carbs, while I'm probably averaging around 800 to 900. So we go over, like, I think it's only a pack of bagels and a half between us for the full week. So 1, 2, 3, there are 7, and then one more, and that should do us till next Thursday. Actually, don't need to get this today, but that's the season I use on my chicken, sweet and sticky chicken and Dunn's. If you haven't tried it yet, give it a shot. And what else one I like? There's another one as well. I think it could be on the far side. It's a bacon flavour. I'll show you that. That's a good one as well. But I don't need any of that because I've stocked up on that last week. Next, turkey rashers, which actually are not for me again. I actually don't have any of them. Karen goes through nearly 5 packs of them a week, so she has one home ready, so 4 should keep her going. Yeah, protein wise, I'm just realistically chicken, beef, salmon, eggs, whey protein, and some Greek yogurt, which I have with eggs in the morning as well, because Greek yogurt is not really a complete protein, so you nearly always want to have that with whey or eggs. So we'll pick up some of that in the next aisle. Have 250 grams of that every morning with my eggs. So I have 250 grams of these. Karen has 200, which is ideal. So just means this is Greek yogurt, the 0% fat one as well. So we have, handy thing is just one a day for between the both of us. So that means we need 7. Yeah, and that's actually a good point for asking me that, because that's what I was going to say. I find if you're not on a set meal plan, you'll come in here and you'll just end up buying loads of random shit that you're going to fuck out at the end of the week. So it's kind of like, if you have a set diet plan, it's very easy to come in here. I even know now what I need without even having to look at my phone or make a list. I just literally come in, go from aisle to aisle. I'll be in now here in 15-20 minutes, job done. While if you don't have that structure, you'll end up kind of buying random stuff. You also take the time in the sense of you have to like put extra prep and time into meals and stuff that you shouldn't really have to do, because you want to take the thinking out of it and make it as easy as possible, really. I like the Cajun salmon in the air fryer for 20 minutes. It's a job. 2 packs of them, because I only have that on my rest days. So one on a Sunday and one on a Thursday. So just make sure they're on day 25th. I always look for the ones at the back. There we go.
Would you usually go for a season 7 off prep, or do you incorporate that?
Yeah, well, I suppose it's a bit of both. I don't really like I eat my food plain enough, but with salmon, I like that Cajun one. And the big thing I always say is, like, look, you want to enjoy your food, especially in the off season when you're going to be eating more. And I know, obviously, when it comes to prep, when you're hungry, you're going to put a lot more effort into your food. But I think one good thing is to get food you actually enjoy, and make sure, especially with your coach as well, that you're incorporating foods that he's happy with, and then again, the ones that you enjoy, that you know you'll eat, because the last thing you want to be doing is eating chicken, plain, I see that people like, and there's plenty of variety you can have without making your food boring, and just give that little bit extra effort, especially the off season. You'll get down the food way easier. And this is probably actually the main reason I come to Dunn's, actually, because I don't know what it is about their frozen fruit. It's probably the nicest frozen fruit you can get. I only have pineapple really on rest days, so 2 packs of that. Don't tell me the blueberries are out of stock. Raspberries in the morning, which is here. And just when I was going to say that, blueberries is actually probably the nicest fruit in Dunn's, but they don't have them today. I have 3 or 4 packs that'll probably get me out for a few days, so I'll come back in next week and pick up them. These ones are very fine one, yeah. They're the ones I prefer. There's just a better taste off them, and they cook a lot nicer now. They probably go through, between me and Karen, even though I nearly have to chop them up for Karen to eat them, because she hates vegetables, but we probably go through about half a pack of them, nearly, well, 3/4 of a pack a day. So, and one thing I would say to a lot of people in the off-season as well, obviously food volume gets very high, but you still need some fibre in your diet. So find a vegetable that doesn't bloat you, that sits well, that can digest well, and kind of keep it in, because your digestion and your appetite will thank for you in the long run. So, and I find green beans, some people can find intolerance with them, but I've been using them now the whole way through prep, the whole way to this point now, and I don't really seem to get sick of them either. So with a vegetable, find something that you like and just stick with it. Yeah, obviously people know I love my cream of rice, but I do like baby rice, enjoy the texture of it, especially because you can add your own like toffee drops and flavours to it as well. But normally it's very expensive, and especially in Ireland, like, you can buy it in bulk, but sometimes like on Amazon and that, it's out of stock. But whenever it's on sale here, look, it's half price today, I always stock up and have it there in the press because it's handy. So if there's any babies hungry in Portlaoise, I'm sorry. Oats as well, I always go with the oatlets, just because when you're making them in the microwave, I find they cook a lot better, and the consistency and texture is a lot better than them, the jumbo oats. Just a preference really. And then some granola. This is the one actually Karen has, even though, hey Alan, I'm not sure if Karen's supposed to be having this, but this is the one she's been having anyway. And then I actually get this one for a Saturday night as part of my cheat meal, because punching a granola is fucking savage, so mind that done. Yeah, normally they don't have almond butter here in the big tubs. I normally go to Holland and Barrett for them, but just for the convenience of this week, normally I just pick up a tub of Meridian here, and the smooth peanut butter as well, is to have any big tubs. Crunchy, smooth here. Yeah, I don't know about you, but I prefer smooth. There was a time where I actually preferred crunchy, but I think I start having it in prep, and sometimes you just get used to things, and now I can't eat anything but smooth, or smooth almond butter or peanut butter. So that will do for this week. Don't ever get this. I actually seen this over the Christmas, and because I love jasmine rice, and thought this would be nice, but honestly I had it cooking for about an hour, and it was the most it was like, normally brown rice is very heavy texture, but that's like, it's worse. So you're literally, it's hard and grainy. So if you do see red jasmine rice and you like normal sticky jasmine rice, just stick with your jasmine rice normal, because it's not that good. Coffee for the morning as well. We have the little Dolce Gusto thing, so normally get the Grande Intenso one of these ones, but these are handy. So Intense 9, so I just grab 2 of them and kind of have them stocked up for the next couple of weeks. Honey, Valley. Yeah, at the minute, normally sometimes you come into the kind of heavier part of your off season, you can kind of make your food a little bit easier to get down in terms of volume with jams and honey and stuff like that. But you know, Karen has this at the minute. I do have a bit of honey, but I'm kind of at that stage now, still only like 10 weeks into the off season, so realistically fruit appetite is still good. Yeah, this tomato relish, I have that on my salmon, and apart from that I actually don't really use any sauces, apart from sometimes a little bit of the 50% ketchup on my beef meal on my rest days. Other than that, I have my food pretty much plain. But in the off season, you're kind of, I like to keep sauces and stuff in only if you really need them, because I find people can add in too much and there becomes a stage where all them calories will stack up over the week, and I feel like if you can eat your food plain and get it down, it just sits better with me in terms of digestion and that. But like, you do need to get your food down, like I was saying earlier with when we were talking about the salmon. So using something like a bit of ketchup here and there is no problem, but there is other sauces out there that if you actually look and be mindful of the calories in the back, you don't actually realize the difference they make over across the week. So definitely something to keep an eye out, and especially when you're starting to push your food as well. And then on the back end of prep also, if you start to add these things in near the end, I would never put these in at the end unless you're having them the whole way through your off season and start to prep, because they're only calories that are going to add up that you can't really control, and you don't even have proper control of, like your coach would know or anything as well. So definitely keep that in mind. Yeah, let's check the list actually, because handy thing is to use your list on your phone as well. You can tick it off. Well, I've just done this shop so many times now and nearly know, but Karen always adds in something at the end of the week before we go, and all this is actually only a bit of hand soap, so once we get that, we're good to go. Shop is done, so we'll grab that and get out here. Someone just asked me there what fats do I have in my diet. That dark chocolate's for Karen. I actually just use almond butter, peanut butter, eggs, and just the fat then it's in salmon and beef currently now as well. Obviously everyone's a little bit different, but when you're pushing food as well, especially for me, really I'm trying to get my carbohydrates really high, and obviously fat in that for the extra calories is good, but in order to push the food higher and the carbs higher, if you have too much fat in there, you realize you won't be able to push the food as high. And digestion wise, between all my meals now, I get a meal in 2 hours after eating the last one. So in terms of when you're in prep and stuff like that, when you want to add calories in and you want to slow down your digestion, fat is good. But in the off season, I like to keep my fat moderate and push the carbs that bit higher. Yeah, meat wise as well, I actually get all my meat in the butchers. So I'll go back when we get back to the apartment and get back all the shopping. I'll go through what I get there per day, so I don't really need to pick anything up here meat wise. But what I would say for any young lads or anyone kind of getting in, like in terms of protein sources to use, like I was saying to you earlier, once you stick with your beef, chicken, salmon and your eggs, you've got a good base there which you can build your diet around. And once you add in simple carbs like oats, bagels and rice, which we're going to pick up after this as well, you can build a lot of different meals there. And as I said, different variety in terms of spices. You can have plenty of variety across the week. You're getting all the nutrients you need for your building tissue and recovery and training, and it's not really going to break the bank as well. So sometimes you hear people saying to get big, yeah, it takes a lot of food, but like eating healthy is expensive. But I guarantee you, if you add up all the times you go to the shop or and pick up a roll that normal people would be on a daily basis, and rather than coming here doing a week shopping, knowing exactly your food plan and just sticking to that food plan for a week, I guarantee you'll spend a lot less. So that's as simple as that really. So I think make a plan, stick to it for the week, and then, as I said, add the variety as you need, mix it up with spices, and you're good to go. Yeah, jasmine rice. This is not what I use anymore. Till you can see it's actually on sale today, €3. But a good tip is throw that jasmine rice away and find if there's a look.
No, a good tip is throw it away and keep watching this video.
That'll do as well, Dan. But what I was going to say is find an Asian shop nearby. There's plenty of around, nearly in most towns nowadays. But like it works out, I think €3 on a good day for half a kilo of jasmine rice. So that means it's about €6 a kilo. While if you go to your Asian shop, you can probably pick up, I think it's a 20 kg bag for about 60 quid, or else it's a 10 kg bag for €15, I think, or something, or is it a 5 kg bag for €15. So you end up, if you add up that over the course of a week, you're probably spending 3 times the amount, and it's the exact same. So we'll head there after this as well and pick up a sack of rice, and we'll show you that as well. That nice anyway, was it? Right, that is done. Normally I actually have to sometimes go over to Tesco's and pick up, they're actually the only place to do it is ground sweet cinnamon. You've probably seen it on my stories on Instagram if you follow me, but I don't know, it's like a little bit sweeter than normal cinnamon, and you can only seem to get in Tesco's, but anytime I go in there I literally buy about 10 bottles of it, so I'm stocked up, so don't need any of that. Now, got the butcher's done last night. As I said, I'll run through the meat when I get back to the apartment, and now we just need to pick up our rice from the Asian store, and we are good to go then. That's the shop done for next week.
And how much was the shopping inside?
That's a good point, actually. Don was just asking there, how much was the shopping? And there's the lucky thing with Dunnes stores, if you know you have a club card, you get for every €50 you spend, you get €10 off. So it was 146, so I only have to pay 126. Now obviously I know that's probably like reverse psychology, that they just charge extra on the food, but realistically you could probably argue it's probably split nearly €100 for me, €50 for Karen for the week, in terms of your carbs, vegetables, fruits. There's no real extras in top of there in terms of like toiletries and shit this week. So yeah, it's probably average about €100 for me, €50 for Karen. The butchers, I'll go through the food when I get back, but on average I think I get about €110 worth of meat for about €70, because I've been using my butcher theories here for the last, I think, 7-8 years. So that's for both of us as well. And then the rice, so you could probably argue it probably costs around €150 a week on food. So when you break it down, as I was saying in there, like if you were to just get up in the morning, have your bowl of cornflakes like normal people do, and then go about their day to work, you're buying coffees, you're into the shop at tea time, you're in the shop at 1 o'clock to buy another roll, I'm telling you, you wouldn't see €30 going a day. You multiply that by 7, there's over €200. So that's why I said it's important as well, especially for any young lads starting out, when you're on a budget and you feel like you're restricted. There's plenty of foods. The best thing about bodybuilding is all the foods that you need to grow are very simple and basic, and they're the cheapest of the food that's out there available now. You don't need to go all arty-farty, you need to just keep it simple. Oats, so saying rice, meat, eggs, and have the only supplement technically you really need, even starting off, is a tub of whey protein and some creatine. So I would say you could easily get your budget down to about €100 a week on food, and that's kind of for a normal person that's kind of starting off, who's say intermediate, beginner, and then even for younger people that are say in college and feel more restricted, €70 will still go a long way. So it's just about being smarter with your food choices. As I said, going where I'm going now, to the Asian store, and buying stuff in bulk. And there's online as well, you can buy plenty of things online in bulk too. So don't be afraid to kind of look around and shop around, and don't be kind of shopping day to day. Try do bulk buys, and let's go shopping for a week, and your money will go a lot further. Forget, but I think I get this one 10 kg. I think I'm really sure it's €30, or maybe it's 25, but 10 kg, that will probably last. We have about, between both of us, we have about 700 grams of rice a day, so about a week and a half, close to 2 weeks. So, you know what I mean, when you think about it that way, €12 a week, your rice, your carbs sorted. And just think about if you were buying this for yourself, especially someone younger starting out as well. You're probably only going to have portions of about 100 gram in each meal. So 4 meals a day is 400 grams, even if you're just saying 500 to make it easier. You know what I mean? Look how much that's going to last you fucking ages. So anyone who's bulking or needs loads of rice, get to your Asian shop or even versatile store and pick it up. The rice can stay there. This is always the fun part. The lazy man load back home with all the fucking bags. This is the secret to big arms. Right, shopping is done. Just back getting the meal in. What I want to show you actually as well is, I'll grab this. This is my meat I got last night. A good tip for you, if you have a good butcher, or you should get a good butcher, is get your butcher to vacuum seal your meat. So I get my chicken and beef all weighed out to the gram exactly, all vacuum sealed for the week. So I get 7 packets of chicken, 7 packets of beef, and that's vacuum sealed, and that means now I don't have to freeze any meat. That'll stay fresh, and just as fresh as it would if you open it up today in 6-7 days time. So a handy way, plus it takes all the hassle of getting up in the morning or whenever you prep your meals and have to weigh out all your meat, especially when you're buying packets of chicken and beef out of the grocery store. You realize, 500, 700, and there's no proper increments, but at least now you get all your meat weighed out personally for you. So a good tip is just give your butcher a shout. I'm sure all butchers will have that laminator there and can do that for you, and job done for the week. And it's just so handy and saves a lot of time. Yeah, so just to update everyone from the last video. I think the last video was probably about 7 weeks ago. I think it was 8 weeks ago. I just started the off season. I think that first session was my second session of the off season officially. We're 8 weeks deep now, and we're up to 125.4 kilos this morning. So we've been making a lot of progress the last few weeks, and even since then, my food has only gone up once in them last 8 weeks. And I suppose I'm going to touch on PEDs a little bit now as well, but in terms of even my food going up just that little bit as well, it's important to know with food, even volume of training and PEDs, that you get the most out of as little as possible. And what I mean by that is, there's no point you going in, say, gung-ho straight after a competition, or even any stage. If you're kind of at a stage, right, where I'm going to start bulking now, if you're someone young and you're starting off and you want to do a growth phase, you don't just throw in and go from 3,000 calories to 6,000 calories straight overnight. First of all, that's not sustainable in a sense. If you're not used to eating that volume of food, you're going to find it very hard to kind of go from only 3,000 to 6,000 and sustain that over months. Because the thing is, with an off season, you need to commit to the plan and take your time and realize that to make progress, that it's going to take a lot of time. It just doesn't happen with all these. You hear these people all do a 12-week bulk and 6-week cut, and no, to make proper progress over a long period of time, you need to commit. And the big thing really with that is trying to create as much runway over that period of time as possible. And that's why Alan and myself have come. Obviously, we knew after a show, we knew we had improvements to make. Obviously, I had lost a lot of tissue in trying to bring out the detail in my lower half after the accident. So that's said and done now. We know, for me, especially with my structure, my narrow clavicles, and basically for my body type, that I just need to fill out my frame as much as possible. And for me, I technically do have to play the size game a little bit. So with being, I suppose, a super heavyweight bodybuilder, I'm making that jump now that I have to. We can't just go hell for leather straight away and throw out the kitchen sink at it. It doesn't work like that, because progress in terms of longevity, health-wise, and making the progress you need to make over time, you have to do this in small increments of time. And that's why Alan, I suppose, is kind of like micromanaging me with my food, my PEDs and everything. And I think that's crucial for someone like even starting out. Like, there's so much information out there, and we can go and we can apply this to ourselves, but at the same time, if you get a proper coach, he's going to do all that for you and take the thinking out of it. And to me, I just want to bodybuild, and I want to give as much time to the bodybuilding and not have to overthink things and keep it as simple as possible. So that's definitely one thing I would say is let your coach do the thinking for you, get a good coach and be patient and realize that you have to kind of take increments in time with your progression and with your food and with your training in order to make progress. Yeah, so I was saying with food, especially as well, taking the time to realize you have to make increments with your food over time based on feedback to the coach you're working with, or if you're kind of like, you need to kind of be accountable to yourself. But I would say if you're trying to do this as someone young starting out, get a good coach, and with your food, your drugs, everything, you build it up over time. And that's why I just want to talk about my cycle, because I put up a question box on my Instagram last night, and obviously when it comes to bodybuilding, stereotypically, like steroids is the big thing in the question, and PEDs, and I suppose the bigger you get, I think there's a whole, what's the word I'm trying to think, there's a whole stigma around bodybuilders, and the bigger you get, the more drugs you take. And yeah, okay, that's apparent at times, but I suppose there's so much science and so much studies out there, and like there's people and coaches like Alan now have put in years and years of education and is up to date with all the knowledge that's out there now as well. And you realize the whole simple thing with bodybuilding is getting more out of less, because you want to keep your health in check. A healthier body is a responsive body, and with your drugs, your food, as I was saying, making them increments as you're gaining gives you more runway for progress. So currently, just to give you an update of where I'm at now PED wise, this is 10 weeks into my off season. I'm taking 80 milligrams of test enanthate and 190 milligrams of mass enanthate 5 times a week, which gives me a total dosage of about 1300 milligrams. Now, obviously, disclaimer, don't do what I do, but the funny thing is, there is so much information out there, and there's so many bad information out there that people will come on their YouTubes, and similar to my YouTube series here, and say, look, I'm not going to share my doses with you because I don't want to be reckless like that. There's younger people watching this, but people will still do what they want to do. And the way I feel is my dosage aren't reckless, and some people might not believe this is what I'm taking either, but it's as simple as that. The plan has always been, after prep, you go back to your normal TRT level, and then you build it up there and go from there, while getting lab work done every 4 to 6 weeks. And that's the thing. I think there's so many people now that are jumping on cycle, don't have any blood work or have no knowledge of what they're taking, and just go, oh, well, my friend John in the gym, he's taking 1 gram of test and fucking 600 milligrams of DECA, so he's after getting big, I'm going to do that as well. And unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. And a good thing, I suppose, to realize is, if you apply yourself and do this properly, you will see the results come more from the food and training and the sleep, not the drugs. And it's hard for someone starting out to first realize that. And for me, because I'm so committed to everything else, the drug side of it is only that last 5%. And it's funny, it's not till now, after 10 years of doing this, do I realize that it is actually still, it's only a small component of the bigger picture. And when you first start out, you think that's the be all and end all. You think, oh, the biggest guy, what's he taking? What's he doing differently than me? But the simple fact of it is, he's just doing this for 10, 12 years. He's just doing this longer than you. And that's the thing, you have to commit to doing this and doing it properly if you want to make the progress and make that step to going towards PEDs. Because I've, questions in there as well where people are asking me, like, how do you come off PEDs and all that. Like, these are questions that from people that aren't even bodybuilders, aren't even competing at a level. So why are they using performance enhancing drugs? So you have to ask yourself a lot of questions if you want to make that step. But there's so much information out there nowadays with the right people. You just have to make sure you're getting that information. There's the J3 University Online, John Jewett, which is a very good course where you can pull all this information. But the best thing really for anyone to do is get a coach who can take all that thinking away from you, and get a doctor as well to ensure that your blood work is in check. And I suppose in Ireland, the unfortunate thing is GPs in Ireland have no clue about anabolic steroids. Most people will go to get blood work done, and if you mention the word steroids to your doctor, you'll probably get a lecture. But you could name 10 different compounds, and that doctor will know literally none of them. But yet he can lecture you about why you're taking this and that. So what I would say is, in Ireland, there's probably a few doctors I know. The one doctor I would recommend to anyone is Nuacell Healthcare in Malahide, Dr. Sam Van Eden. He's my doctor now, and he has a very broad knowledge of PEDs, and I go to him every 6 to 8 weeks, depending on Alan wants blood work now. He's a set out over the roadmap, and what we do is we run with my cycle to a certain point. When we get to different new body weight, or there's a time where we feel like, okay, it's time to assess lab work now, we see where we are, we know then what move we can make next. We're never guessing, and that's the thing with bodybuilding as well. To keep yourself in check and making progress, you want to take the thinking out of it and be able to make like educated moves, rather than just saying, oh, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z for 16, 20 weeks, when really you have no clue what that's doing to you internally. So health is the biggest thing for me, especially after the accident. I realised, like, I don't know how long I'm going to be doing this, but I want to do it as best as I can. So having someone like Alan over me, having a good doctor in place, and being smart about my PED usage, and just putting all of my emphasis on the training side of things, the food and the sleep, the factors that really matter. And then that small 5% of PEDs comes in after, and that's the big thing I want people to take home from this. And my cycle is not your cycle, remember that. So, and anyone else's cycle that you were hearing it taking, that's not your cycle either. Go to a doctor. If you're making the jump and you want to say, I'm making this commitment to bodybuilding and I want to start taking steroids, make sure you're talking to the right people and you have a doctor and you know what you're taking and putting in your body, because unfortunately these days people don't, and there's a lot of people out there now suffering big time for it. So that's the one big take home I want to say for anyone out there who's making that step forward.